Welcome to the channel. My name is Brian. I'm an SEO and AI search expert with over 10 years of experience. And today we're going to talk about a tool called Content Grapher. You can find this at Content Grapher. And here's the claim they make. AI is reading your content. Don't make it guess. So basically this tool is going to map your content's concept structure. It's going to show what's complete, what's missing, and it even tells you what to do next. It's pretty cool. It gives you some visualizations on how the concepts within your content map to each other and which ones are covered well, which ones are missing. And then, like I said, it's going to give you recommendations, which I love. I love when these tools don't just show you something, they tell you what to do next. It's going to tell you how you can update your content and connect concepts better and cover them more thoroughly. But the other thing it will do, which is really cool, and it's not immediately obvious, is it's going to tell you if there's a concept you're covering within your content that actually deserves its own page. So I really like that. And I ran one of my own blog posts with this tool. So the one I ran is how to choose the right keyword for any page. So it's just an SEO basics kind of blog post. And what you do is you give the tool the URL. Okay, you can kind of see that. Sorry if the font's not exactly user-friendly. Let me zoom in just a bit. You give it the URL up here, but you can also like paste in copy, which is really nice if you're a copywriter and you want to test one of your drafts. But I chose the URL option and I went ahead and performed the analysis. Now, I will tell you, you get 5 free analyses. After that, you have to start paying. And from what I could see, the lowest tier is about $29, which is right around the neighborhood of what our AI tools commonly are. So kind of used to that. And if you get a lot of value out of this tool, maybe you think that's worth it. Okay. But let's go through and like see what the actual value is. And again, the goal of this tool is to improve your content in terms of AI's interpretation of it. I think that's fine, but I would probably have to test this to see if it actually improved AI visibility. I love it just as a content tool. It gives you great suggestions on how you can improve your content. So that's sort of how I look at this tool. It's not necessarily AI specific. Let's just start off with the coverage score. Okay, so 70%. So I'm doing most things right here, but there are some opportunities, and that's great. Let's kind of look at these 4 quadrants here. I've got some quick wins and some low priority. So it really comes down to these 5 or so recommendations that are going to take my content to the next level. Let's kind of look at what they are together. So I need to make all of these more explicit. Google search competitor review in my title tag, really interesting. Here's another title tag optimization relating to organic search results. These are things that I mention in my blog post. Primary keyword in the title tag. So we're seeing a theme here. This is relating the 2 topics of Google search competitor review and organic search results. So I need to do a better job connecting those concepts. And then AI as a collaborator with a mention of ChatGPT. Again, need to make those 2 concepts relate to each other in a more user-friendly way. Let's scroll down and get more detail on the suggestions. Something I love how the tool does, it really does a great job of explaining everything in plain terms. So let's go over this. The tutorial covers the keyword selection for SEO. That's my blog post. Okay, does a good job, but 3 concepts need stronger integration to complete the picture. Here are the opportunities. Title tag, Gemini, and organic search results. The most important gap is closing the loop between keyword selection for SEO and title tag. Without it, learners finish the process without knowing where the primary keyword actually lands on the page. Now, this is a cool call out. So it's basically saying like you tell people how to choose the keyword for SEO, but then you don't tell them what to do with it. I actually wrote another blog post on that topic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this suggestion and I'm going to kind of mold it to my scenario. This is just like any other AI output. I'm not simply going to let it tell me what to do. I'm going to hear what it has to say, and I'm going to use my own discretion and make my own decisions. So for me, what I'm thinking is, okay, at the end of this how to choose a keyword blog post, I'm going to put a little line of like, hey, the next step is knowing what to do with the keyword. And, you know, that's going to open up a natural internal link opportunity for someone to click and hop over to my next blog post. So I like that. I should have included that and I didn't. And then the next thing is, additionally, Gemini and ChatGPT are referenced, but they're not given enough individual identity to help learners replicate the AI as a collaborator step confidently. I do mention using AI as a helper in finding the primary keyword for a page, but I think I don't go into enough detail of exactly how you do that with tools like Gemini in Chrome and ChatGPT. So I could go into more detail there and probably check this box. So for me, this sums up to 2 recommendations. I like them both, and I would absolutely go ahead and do those. Now, what you can do is you can go to each explicit recommendation. These are the 5 dots from the quadrant visual, and you can click these and get more information. And it's going to tell you exactly what it suggests you do. And it's going to give you sort of like an example of like, here's what I mean. Okay, here's how that writing could look. All right. So it gives you an actual example that you can maybe work off of if you're having writer's block and you need that. Now, here's another really cool part of the tool, how you can connect concepts. So number 1 is I mentioned Google search competitor review, organic search results, and title tag. And here are the comments from the tool. When describing the competitor review setup, sequence these 3 concepts in order. Explain that the learner runs a search, narrows attention to organic search results, then reads each result's title tag to identify competitor keywords. Keeping the sequence tight prevents learners from getting lost on the search results page. These detailed explanations are so helpful to me in understanding exactly what the tool wants. Maybe I could have done a better job explaining that whole sequence. The tool also has a reanalyzer. So if I kept this active, I went ahead and updated my blog post, give it the content again, and then reanalyzed. Hopefully it would kind of A/B the difference for me. I'm not sure if it does that, or I just kind of have to record these results in my mind and see if there are simply fewer suggestions after my update. But I'm pretty sure it's going to give you a side-by-side and show you like how well you've made the changes. The next section is a coverage matrix. I really like this. 8 questions a large language model needs answered to fully retrieve and cite this content. This is something you might build into your own copywriting workflow, something you can hand to actual human writers. Check out these 8 questions. First of all, what is it? So the concept, I guess. How does it work? It depends on, affects and produces, who interacts, constraints, alternatives, and an example. So that's a pretty cool framework actually to put your writing up against and make sure that it hits all of these 8 points. This is another readout, kind of like on a concept by concept basis. So it's breaking down your writing on an even more granular level. I've got like primary keyword and brainstorming explained quite well. So I get good marks on those. Title tag, Gemini, ChatGPT, those AI tools, those things, maybe they're not explained as well and there's more detail needed. And certainly you could see from the section before, there's more connectivity needed among concepts there. Now here's where we come to the visualization, okay? And this is where it's going to kind of map out all the different concepts and how they relate. You've got some clickable options here. I think by default, it's going to be on this like observed only view, which is fine. And you can sort of see like some of the things where I was a little bit weaker on, like, let me see if I can make that bigger for you. Okay, so there's the title tag that was mentioned, organic search results. That's where we're looking at the search results to get keyword ideas from the competitor title tags. I was a little weaker there. You can see the AI tools here, Gemini and ChatGPT. So it's colored in a way that shows what I've covered well and shows what I've missed. And then we've got this gap view. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. And basically what you're going to see here is if it's in red, it's something that's totally missing. So the tool can also come up with concepts that you didn't cover at all, and it'll tell you you should consider covering this. And then there are some things that are weakly integrated, and those are going to come up in gray. Green is good, gray not good, and red totally missing. And then we can also click this show scope of the concept. Core concepts are circled in green. If it's a supportive concept, it's going to be circled in yellow. And there's even a blue circle if it belongs elsewhere. And that harkens back to that feature I mentioned at the beginning of the video. If there's a concept that you cover that kind of meanders away from the topic's center, then it's going to suggest that you put that on another piece of content. And it'll be circled here as well. And then there's a dashed red for concepts that are excluded or missing. This visual is really helpful, and it pairs really nicely, obviously, with all the other information that the tool gives. Okay, and here is that indication of like, should I keep this as one page, or are there some concepts that maybe belong on other pages? And this one is telling me keep it as one page, probably because 70% of it came up as, written just fine. And the final table, I believe, is the concept scope. This is another area where you might see concepts that meandered a little bit, little portions of your writing that could have meandered. So keyword selection for SEO, obviously that's a keeper. That's the whole center of the thing. Brainstorming makes sense. AI collaboration, keyword competition, everything looking good. As we go down, maybe we shorten this one a little bit. A single clear sentence is sufficient. So in fact, it is saying maybe I went into too much detail there. And then we've got this one, which it's telling me to move. I did have a mention of keyword strategy, but what's kind of interesting, and this is why you always have to keep your human brain working when you're working with AI. I'm going to go to my blog post for a second and look at this. I'm just going to put strategy. Okay. Now, keyword strategy is mentioned in this final little CTA row. All right. And that's what the tool is picking up on. So it's acting as if I mentioned keyword strategy within my writing, but I actually didn't. Okay, so that one I'm actually going to ignore because that's a false result. But overall, a really great tool from contentgrapher.io. It's explicit, it's clear, it's actionable, it's visual. I think there's a ton of great suggestions here. And to me, they very clearly would improve the writing. So try this one out and let me know what you think. Give the video a like, subscribe to the channel. There's a lot more content coming. Hope to hear from you in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.